PAC, what entity is giving you power so you can act now, be it on the right or the left or whatever, you know, taking the action. So what legality you have to take action on the district PAC if you have said many times that there's no jurisdiction?
The board governs every policy under state law regarding the schools. So some time ago, 40 some odd years ago, that board authorized a district PAC and school PACs. Never interfered with your governance. But the board voted to establish the district PAC and the executive board many, many years ago. They voted there is no more district PAC executive board. So how are you sitting in an executive board when that board voted you don't exist? That is to set policy. Our job isn't to handle the day-to-day minutia that occurs within your organization, but boom, we got to wave a magic wand kinda, and you have to exist. They have in that resolution say you don't exist. You're gone, right? Have you read the resolution? Doesn't it clearly say there will be no more district PAC executive board? There's a new district PAC. It's only presidents, PTOs. That's it. There's no president, there's no vice president, none of that. So how are you in existence when the board voted that you don't exist? That's our role. That's one of the biggest roles we have under Connecticut state law, is to set policy for the Bridgeport Public Schools. And the other big role we have is to hire and evaluate a superintendent. We don't have 3,000 employees, we have one employee, and that's the superintendent. So the superintendent with staff decided that you're going to have a district PAC, but she has no authority ever to circumvent a vote of the board. Correct, Ms. Baraka? She can't circumvent our vote. Well, not my vote. I wasn't on the board. But when the board votes to do something, her job is to make sure it's carried out. So how did she organize elections along with staff? And parents wanted it, and that's great. She should have come back to the board and put it on the agenda and said, can you vote to reestablish a district PAC executive board and district PAC bylaws? None of that was done. So you see, you don't have a right to exist because the board hasn't given you a right to exist. Does that make sense? Listen, I agree with Ms. Baraka. The board should have, listen, we are 9 people and we don't get along. There's like what, 45 of you at a district PAC meeting? You're gonna have issues. You stay out of it because you're adults and your parents and you'll work it out. And unless you're violating, in my opinion, unless you're violating a federal, state, or local law or a board policy, we shouldn't be interfering.
No.
We don't get involved in that. You're adults. It's your organization. You understand what I'm saying? So how can you exist when under the state law, our role is to set policy and the board voted you don't exist? I was clearly opposed to that. She was opposed to it. Howard was opposed to it. So, there was quite a few people opposed to it. So what I'm saying to you is, you don't have the authority to exist because the board took that away from you. Not me, not Ms. Baraka, and not Ben, and not Howard. You don't exist. Okay? And I'm sorry.
But we want you to.
We want you to have a district PAC executive board. The first thing you need to do, quite frankly, is you need to create bylaws. First. Then when you have them, the goal would be to bring them to the board and only to make sure, is there anything in here that violates federal, state, local, or board policy? So if you say you can have, school dances with alcohol served, that's going to violate a board policy. So that's going to be an issue. As long as you're in compliance with all of those, the rest is yours. We just have to make sure you're not violating any laws. And so then you would come to the board, and we're going to say, okay, we're going to vote to reinstitute a district PAC executive board, whatever that is, whatever your bylaws say it's going to be, a president, a vice president, and we're going to vote that you can have a district PAC executive board. Then you go hold elections, not before all that's done. Okay, and Joanne's had her hand up for some time, so I just want to acknowledge her.
You know what? We're all adults here, right? We're all over 18 and plus some. And so we know the difference between right and wrong. And there's a scripture that says, there is a way that seemeth right unto men, but the end thereof is death. Don't sit here and pretend nothing is going on in these meetings. Don't sit here and pretend like we haven't had serious battles as to where people wanted to walk away. This stuff is real. And yes, the most important thing is our children. So in any situation, look at me, Jessica, any household, you have to get your house in order first. Before you start with your children and doing anything, you got to get yourself straight first. Talk to your God or whoever it is that sets you straight every day when you get up in the morning to have a passion about this. Go to them and find out what you're supposed to be doing. Don't play the game. You know there's going to be difference of opinion. You can have 5, you can have 4, you can have 3, 2, 1. If you sit there with your one hand, hold on, I'm sorry.
But Joanne, we want you to speak to the board, not to your fellow.
Okay, if you have, then fine. If you have your hand up, okay, for your one thing that you believe in that. Let's not be pretenders, okay? Let's be real. And no one can circumvent the law. Not one of us in here can circumvent the law. And the law says what it says, that's it. We have to do what the law says, okay? So if we're going to lose money for our children, all of our children that we're so passionate about, we need to do what the law says, period.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else on the district PAC executive board? Nagina, is that okay?
I want to open with just this statement here. Improving parent and family engagement in the Bridgeport Public School is the responsibility of parents, the Board of Education, and the Bridgeport Public School staff. In order to achieve this vision of effective parent and family engagement in the Bridgeport Public School, parents and families must have information and opportunities to improve their knowledge and skills as educators and leaders. With that being said, I understand everything that's represented here today. And I am just hoping that this district move past failure. And what I mean by that is, as of today, you have 78 legislative proposals, 8 that has to do with education, 8 that has to do with mental health, 5 for juvenile justice. 2017, CJTS will close. How will we accommodate that? How will we receive those children with acute behaviors coming into this community? How do we accommodate the families that cannot handle those children? We are supposed to be a part of a network of care. Public Act 13178 says we must work together, all 7 sectors: education, mental behavioral health, juvenile justice, child welfare, substance abuse, and making sure that families have comprehensive, culturally responsive access to care. Schools are losing out because teachers are not trained. Homeschool coordinators are not equipped as frontline workers to assist parents who either are cognitively challenged, do not have the educational level that they need to advocate for their child. How do we help those issues? I'm not here because I need a position. I'm here because this is serious. Generational crisis exists in our families and our schools. How do we accommodate that? How do we see ourselves in partnership as stakeholders in how we carry each other, how we support each other, how we're supposed to distribute the weight to get the work done? I am not here because I believe in a myth that parents do not have power. They have great power. However, they have not received the information to help them. How do we help them understand that there are things that exist in the communities that can give them the answers that they need, like the system of care, where contract providers come together that has everything to do with every diagnosis, every school program, every camp? How do they get the support for their child in the school? Do they know that they can sit at the regional advisory, every contract service under DCF, and be a part of policy change? Because teachers do not have a magic wand to help those behavioral issues. They do not know that. How do we help the principals understand that their presence at the local interagency service team meetings is important? Because when our kids are expelled, they're on the street. Now they have a case. Now they're in the juvenile justice system. How do we accommodate that? That is why I joined this body. I believe I'm a part of a body, and this body's infected. It's infected. And what I mean by infected is when we cannot receive differences and work beyond those differences and work beyond ourselves, and all of this chaos, nothing productive comes out of that. What do we do now? What are the next steps? So if this is the next step, fine, okay, if this is what we have to do. But at the end of the day, how do we accommodate the families who are losing the battle, who feel like they have lost their community when they haven't? They just don't have the information to acknowledge their power. How do we do that? I want to join that conversation. So we can do whatever we have to do. We can dismantle it, but families need the information to accommodate their family.
Maggie, do you think the fact that we are really explaining how Title I protects parents' rights, is that
I
helpful to
understand
you? Is
federal
that helpful to
funding.
you?
I understand as the Southwest region, whether we're Bridgeport, Newark, and Stanford, we lose money when there's not enough representation at the statewide level. When our families do not open their doors in complete consensus, then at the statewide level, they don't know how much money we need down on the Southwest region. So we cannot separate ourselves. Greenwich suffers, their Latino population suffers in the school district, special education suffers. Right now, they're looking at the whole access to health and behavioral situations and how that can fit and complement the Board of Education. Norwalk the same, but we can't separate. So I understand how we're not following policy procedure and federal guidelines, how that can affect the whole process. And so I understand that's why it has to be looked at.
I thought this has been a fabulous meeting so far. I really have enjoyed it. I apologize. She's a parent. She's waiting.
Yeah,
I just want to mention one
Yeah.
thing.
I just want to tell you how moving that was. That was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
I just want to support you and
Yeah.
let you know
Yeah.
that the conversation is being had,
It is.
and that the district is looking at what options we do have and how we can put programming together to support those families, and to create an environment for children who have
New to this. My kids were in it when they were very, very little, and then I took them out, and then now I'm back. So I pretty much agree with a lot that's been said around here, and then Ms. Magina kind of wrapped it up for me. I got involved because I'm very interested in the school system. I'm very interested in what's going on with our kids. I had a situation with my son with the school he was in, so it really got me involved. But at the same time, when I come to these meetings, it's very stressful for me. I don't even want to be there because it's a lot of yelling, who said this, whatever. That means nothing to me because I come for information and I'm not getting any information. A lot of the things she said, a lot of things Edward said, those are the things that I'm looking for. A lot of things you said tonight were questions that I was looking for and could not get any of these information. Because when we get together, it's an argument. It's somebody I want this to come here, I want that, I'm not interested in all that. Once I get my feet in and I know what's going on, then I can get all the rest of the information. But right now, I want the meat. Help me understand how this system works. That's my whole thing. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who needs to speak? Tammy?
For the record, Tammy Boyle, I am the previous District PAC president. When this vote took place on February 23rd, 2015, it was not at the hands of the parents. It was at the hands of the Board of Education. Many of the parents, some of them that are in this room, some are not in this room, actually supported that takeover from the Board of Education. That went before the Board of Education to ask for us to be illegally dismantled. So when you ask where does the Board of Education lie in this, you put it in their laps. They illegally took it and ran with it and did what they may had in February 2015. Now, they voted against what we believe in as...
Nobody here did, but...
No, I'm speaking as a Board of Education.
Yeah, right.
Voted to basically take away our independency which they've never done in the past for the last 40-something years that this was in hand. At that point, what we were gonna do? We were gonna take it further. Things happened to where it didn't go as far as we would have liked it to go. But basically, there is a resolution, there's a policy or thing that the Board of Education has voted on, that there is no district PAC. When the district PAC.
No, there's a district PAC, there's
There's
not a
a
district
exec
PAC
board.
executive board.
Okay, district PAC board.
Executive.
No, district, no.
Executive board.
Okay, district PAC executive board. So when Fran Rabinowitz, Lisa Pavlik took it amongst themselves to create something that pretty much themselves were the ones that had undone it, was completely wrong. We talk about Title I money. Pretty much, that's a big portion of our livelihood in educating our children. Without that, Bridgeport is slim to none as it is right now. Do we as parents that are sitting in this room, previous leadership or leadership as of now, are we really willing to put that money at risk? Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who sit there and end up punishing our children for getting what's rightfully theirs. So right now, as a parent, a vice president at Bridgeport Military Academy, I'd like for the existing board to think about, is this what you want to do? Do you want to put our children at risk of losing this by going against something that was totally wrong? The election was fraudulent. Technically, this board sitting here is not a board. It's something that was just created unlawfully. So I really urge the parents that are sitting here to think about, I mean, we have things going on in the schools to where totally violate our Title I laws, to where we have non-custodial parents running and holding offices. If this was to be found out by the Title I government, we're done. That millions of dollars that we get, it's over with. So is it worth our own personal interests to hold a title over that money that we get for our children? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to be the ones suffering, our children are. And we as parents are supposed to be protectors of our children. So, I mean, unfortunately, I have to be in total support. The Board of Education dismantled us by the laws, regulations, and policies of the Board of Education. They are the only ones at this point right now that can reinstate the District Executive PAC Board.
No, wait, what's
So-
going on? Can somebody check?
Why did you want, she can leave whenever she wants. Come
What
on.
happened? I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just want everybody to calm down. We're having a nice, calm discussion. Yeah, because I think you're next and then Amy. If Tammy's done, are you done, Tammy?
I wasn't, but
Okay,
I
go
agree.
for you.
So, like,
We can wrap it up because we still have two other items to discuss,
Right,
okay?
So are they okay?
Yeah.
They're not gonna have any physical
Very loud.
altercation. Yeah. There's not a physical.
No, I hope not.
Oh, okay.
So I just urge, as the past district PAC board, executive board, I urge the ones that are sitting on this board now, think about what you're doing and who's at risk for this. We can't afford to lose that money. I know in the past, we've never wanted the Board of Education to have jurisdiction over them. I don't want.
We're
We
not
were
having
independent.
jurisdiction.
We
Just want to
were,
reestablish.
right, we were independent. Board of Ed never got involved in us. We were big people, we wore our big panties, we handled it. We need to get this done, if, I believe totally in a board, an executive PAC district board, but it needs to be done properly, because there's a lot of things at risk at this point.
Thank you.
Nilda?
Hi, I'm Nilda. I'm also the PAC president from Blackham School. I also got chosen by Jessica to be the chairperson of the parent convention. At the beginning, I was thrilled to become the chairperson because I do this for a living, so for me, it's kind of pretty fun. But I got to the point now that I'm really disgusted because I get a phone call from our president saying that if I'm become friends with the committee she picked, that I'm dumb and that I'm not no longer somebody of importance.
What?
Okay, let's bring it bluntly. When I got a phone call like